Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. People call me Vivek. And let me come back into your view. Let me take under a minute to tell you about myself. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. So here's my simple way. Avoid the cowboys, work with the Indian. Let the Indian handle technology, and you live an integrated, simple life. Maybe you have lots of projects and you are struggling to find someone who can integrate and simplify. You can reach me by using the Contact Me button on my website and filling the contact form or through my Google Plus profile. So it's now time for our panel members to introduce themselves. I shall invite you one by one, and I would request you to tell us your name, and if possible, tell us why you do what you do. And then inform our viewers how they can reach you and contact you. I'll invite Lowell Ann to.
Well, good morning, and this is and thanks for the invite to participate, Vivek. Lowell Ann Fulsang. My business is called Workstyle Lifestyle Consulting. I love helping solopreneurs become more productive, get better online presence, etc. Why do I do what I do? I guess it goes right back to what I've done all my life. Is I love working with people and helping them get where they want to go. So how to reach me, you can see in my lower third here, loweland.com.
Excellent, excellent. Roland?
Hi, my name is Roland, and from Southern California. It's kind of overcast and cloudy today. And what do I do? I'm pretty much a jack of all trades, but I focus on WordPress development for websites, social media and integration, and also video development, mostly via YouTube. So we do a lot of editing and producing of videos. But I think I am WeWake's partner in It Mobile.
You are. You certainly are.
Okay, I just wanted a reminder there. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
How to reach me? You can get me all over the internet by looking up Roland Takaoka, but you do have to know how to spell my name. Or you can just go to initmobile.net.
That would probably do. Now that we have introduced ourselves, let me start off by explaining why we are here. Because I always start with why. We are here to understand why a calendar software such as Google Calendar is important for you. Let me remind you my tagline: integrate, simplify life. Now let me do a quick screen share, and I shall begin with a story snippet. My typical presentations follow this format. Why? A three-letter word, WHY. And I would say that it's an acronym for three things combined. The three things are why, how, and you. Yes, you, the viewer. Now, let me begin. John is a busy businessman and he is meeting Tom, a client. Of course, visitors to my website would have seen this story, but I would say this story is worth reminding again and again. John is a busy businessman and he is meeting Tom, a client. John says, "Good morning, Tom." John is startled when his phone starts ringing. John says, "My apologies. Hope it's all right if I answer my phone." Tom is obviously not happy that the meeting has just started and John's phone has already started ringing. As you can all imagine, John is not creating a good impression on him. What do you think Tom says? Naturally, he says, "Sure, go ahead." At the other end of the phone, it is Amy who asks, "Hello, is that John?" Amy says, "It's Amy here. I'm wondering if you have rescheduled our meeting." John says, "Good morning, Amy. Sorry, but I am in a meeting now. Can we meet in 20 minutes, please?" Amy says, "I'm afraid not. You'll have to reschedule the meeting. May have been possible if only you had phoned me earlier. We have been waiting over an hour for you." John says, "Oh, so sorry." Now, you might have noticed that John was annoyed that his phone rang during a meeting, and that annoyance came through in his response. But it's actually John who is at fault here. John says, "I forgot to check my diary." Now, what opinion will Tom have? Tom thinks that John is unable to keep to his appointments and has bungled up appointments. What impression does this leave on Amy? Amy thinks, what a waste of time. She's also wondering if John handles all customers in the same way. John says, "Sorry, Tom. Apparently, I am starting another hectic day." That was the why part. In the story, John used a paper diary, and the major drawback with such a diary is the diary itself will not remind you. You have to look at your diary at regular intervals during the day. But using a tool such as Google Calendar allows you to do much better than that. Now, I'm going to stop this screen share and let's see if our panel has a few things to say. Roland, you are muted, but you are trying to say something.
Not really. I'm just observing the process of your situation. It seems to me that John is a jerk in the first place, and no matter what he uses, he's probably going to have problems. But definitely, you have identified some modus operandi issues that are going to cost him. No matter what, he's going to have problems.
First of all, I need to say, as you were doing that, I forgot to turn my phone off. So I busily turned my phone off. But I do have not quite the same kind of a situation, but a story from my own background. Years ago, I started and had a consulting business in Yellowknife, which is on the kind of western side of Canada, northern Canada. And I was doing a lot of contract work in a place called Iqaluit, which is on the extreme east coast of northern Canada, which meant that there were 3 hours difference. So this is quite a few years ago, and I was using a paper calendar, and I found that I was doing 2 calendars, and I had an assistant in the office, and I needed to, we were both working from it, so we knew what I was doing and what courses I was delivering and whatever. And I remember her saying to me very clearly one day, "Could we please just have one calendar?" And it was shortly after that I started using an electronic calendar. Because she would be in my office in Western Canada, and I would be way over on the East Coast, and so by using an electronic one, we could both access. So, yeah, I got myself into many little hot water places as a result of trying to manage 2 calendars.
I certainly have enough trouble handling one calendar.
Yeah. But certainly from a business perspective, and that whole the piece out of Vivek's little video piece there about all this need to phone back and forth and reschedule, and I mean, so much time can get wasted that way. So there's your opening to talk about all the wonders of Google Calendar, Vivek.
Yeah. And we have so far covered why use a calendar at all, and I think my first slide was actually the title slide was why calendar, and below that it said why business. It's if you want to have a business, you need to have a calendar. So anyway, let me come to the how part by doing a screen share again. So Google Calendar gives you lots of calendars. In fact, one of them is called as primary calendar. So let me show you the primary calendar. Go. This actually is showing calendars, but my primary calendar is not being shown here. My primary calendar will have my name. So it is this one. And Google Calendar has a feature where you can hide a calendar from you by simply doing what I'm doing now, clicking on that little thing there. It went away. A couple of events that are shown there. You can also change the color if you want, if it is not to your liking, the color that is shown. Let me change it to, say, green. So these are the events that are there in my calendar. And the events in the past will be grayed out. That is one of the features. But this is your primary calendar. Then there are secondary calendars. So you can't have a secondary diary unless you a paper diary, unless you carry too many books with you, and of course you will definitely be killing a lot of trees if you did that. So I have here quite a few secondary calendars. These are the calendars that I set up for this event. This is a calendar in this color red, which is a private event calendar set up for the event that you are watching now. The private event calendar is shared between all the panel members. There is a public calendar. This can be shared on the web. That is the idea. But any calendar, in fact, can be shared on the web. Let me come to that. To share a calendar or do anything with the settings of the calendar, you can go to this. I hope you are able to see what I'm showing you. Click on this settings. While you are looking at your calendar, click on this and go to settings menu. And this shows you various things. Your time zone, you need to set your time zone correctly. You can have additional time zone. For example, I have an additional time zone showing up on my calendar, which is specific time. And I can have a label such as Roland, Zara, and I think I've also put Loveland there. So all of you are actually sharing the same time zone. So I put it there. So you can add additional time zone. So you can change the date format if you want, but those are all features, which I'm not going to go into at the moment. But this is still showing you the main settings. There are different calendars. This is my primary calendar. There is a calendar birthdays, as it says. It picks it up from your circles from Google Plus. So as it says here, so if you are using Google Plus and you have set up your IDs and so on properly, it displays birthdays of your Google Plus friends.
So Roland, there's a piece that I wasn't aware that you could put more than one time zone in there. That's useful to know, based on the little example I just gave. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have some regular contacts across the nation, across the world in our cases. And so it's good to have a reminder. I'm getting pretty good at remembering, but it's good to have the reminder for sure.
Yeah, this different time zones has this effect. Let me show you. Let me go back to my calendar. You see the little column here? This shows the times for Roland, Zara, Loveland, this time zone actually. These are my times, and these are the times for you guys. So if I'm looking at now nearly 4:30, the little red indicator is there, which is nearly just past, I think, 8 o'clock in the morning for you. For me, it is nearly 4:30 in the evening. So this shows you the different time zones within the calendar. I have not come across any paper diary which would allow you to do that.
Well, you can certainly write it in, but as a constant reminder, that's a good thing. I'm talking to people on the Central time zone in the East Coast quite often, and very often planning meetings, and we'll say, okay, so 2 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock your time, right? And so, let's see, are you talking about my time or your time? And we have a 2-hour differential, so we always have to refer back to, like, what are you talking about when you say 2 o'clock? And of course, you know, you should be referencing your time first, and we should all be translating it out into our own time. But it's very handy if you have to say, to my time, for your time.
Yeah.
And then that keeps it clear in the same sense of your conversation. But this is a really good feature on the calendar.
Yeah, so that is one feature. Okay, let me show you the sharing feature. I've gone back to settings, calendars, and I created this public web calendar. Now I clicked on that and it shows me this code here. This is iframe code I'm highlighting. If I copy this whole code and put it on my website, this specific calendar will be visible on my website. And there is more to it than just displaying the calendar. We have privacy concerns. We have concerns about whether somebody visiting your website will be able to modify your calendar, which you may or may not want. You may want, in the sense, maybe you want people to book appointments with you or something like that. It is possible to do even that. But in certain other cases, you may not want them to modify your calendar. So that is controlled by settings. And
Vivek?
Yeah.
So if we have, as you showed earlier, more than one calendar, can you choose one specific calendar to embed, or does it have to be your primary one? Can it be a secondary one as well?
Yeah. In fact, a few days ago, I showed you embedding this public web calendar. This is a secondary calendar.
Okay. That's a very useful thing to have.
Yeah, it's generally not recommended. Generally not recommended. I stress the point, not to share your primary calendar, because you probably will have your appointments with your clients and so on. You don't want to share that information with the general public. You may be meeting some prospective client, maybe confidential and whatnot. So there are all those things, but I'm coming to that. Sharing the calendar is an important aspect here. Let me show that here. Click on this, share this calendar aspect. So I can share this calendar with others, make this calendar public, and I can see all event details. The visitor, if I embed this calendar on my website, I can select one of these options. They can see all event details or see only free or busy details and hide the details. You may want to do one of that. And if you are a G Suite user, Google Apps for Work or Google Apps for Business user, now it is called G Suite. If you are a G Suite user, This will be controlled in some ways by your domain administrator. So your admin, if you are the domain administrator, then you will have to go into the domain administrative control panel and do certain things to change the maximum level of sharing that you would allow. So you can restrict your employees to show only the free or busy details, or you can allow them to show all details for any calendar. So that there is a lot of control available, which also means that if you don't set it up properly, then you can get into problems. So that there is more information here. I think you can see that there. If you choose public, all of your calendar information will be available to anyone, including your event details. If you make your calendar public and select share only my free busy information, people will only be able to see if you're free or busy. So that's the information there. So that is about embed code I showed you here. This is the embed code. You can customize the color and size and other aspects of what gets shown. When you do that, the embed code here would change appropriately. There are not too many options there to change. So if you really want to do a lot of changes to make it really customized, then you may need some expert coding expert to do that for you, but it is possible to do that. Okay, so that is that part. I've shown you the embed code. And I've also shown you the sharing options. These things. You can, because I have ticked that for that calendar, I have ticked that. If I go to a different calendar, oh, it takes me back to settings. Go to calendars, and if I look at this calendar,
Okay.
I'm not sharing this with the public. I'm sharing it with the whoever is within Wake technology, as you can see here. I can even get rid of this entirely and make it totally private. Okay. So yeah, you were I have completed that section. So let me come back into view. You were talking about turning the volume down on your phone and so on and so forth. So let me show you something which helps you do it automatically, more or less, depending on the calendar.
Oh.
One more reason why you should use calendar. Let me try to bring up the phone screen. Let me do the screen share. This is my mobile phone. As you can see, these are the various apps on my phone. Now, the feature that I want to show you is here. I am going to get to the phone settings. Uh, Phone settings, I go do by put two fingers at the top of my screen. I don't think you can see that there, and drag it. Two fingers. If I do that, it goes into settings, and then I go into settings again. That brings up this screen. Now I scroll down or up or whichever, and go into sound and notification option there. I clicked on that, so it shows me sound and notification. And then I click on do not disturb. I hope you can see what I'm highlighting there. It is slightly grayed out on screen there. This one. I click on that, it brings up this. Then I go into automatic rules. Now, there are a set of automatic rules by default, but let me quickly go through a couple of automatic rules. This, I'm clicking on the every night option here right at the top. Click on that. This one comes up. It says rule name is every night. And what it does is on, as per this second row here, on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, at 11 p.m. starting time, ending time 5:30 a.m. the next day. Do not disturb. My phone goes into alarms only mode. So that is this every night. So every night, if any of you guys, you people are in a different time zone, even if you send a text, hangout text message, and even if my phone is next to me, next to my bed, I will not be disturbed, because because my phone would have gone into do not disturb, and alarms only. It's going to let me, it's going to ring only when there is an alarm as in I can set the alarm clock on this phone, and only that noise it will make. So that is that part. Let me look at this other one, which is event. So this one is, the name of the rule is event, and it says during events for this specific calendar. It gives me options to select any calendars. So if I select this calendar here and the event, and when the reply is for an event, when somebody says, I want to meet you at this and such a time, if I say yes, maybe, or not, even if I don't reply, in this case, this is going to be for Hangout on Air. So I want it to be the first one, which is yes, maybe, or not replied. So if somebody sends me an event, my phone goes into do not disturb, alarms only mode automatically. So that happens when this thing is on here. I can turn it off. I have turned it off. It says off. I've turned it on. So, and if you look at the bottom of the screen, there is a helpful message popping up there. It says automatic rule set to turn on, do not disturb. It goes off too quickly. Do not disturb during specific events. So during those events, my phone will not disturb me. That is the meaning of that. So that is a bunch of automatic rules. You can also have priority only settings, which is you can have specific people to override these settings and still get your phone ringing. It could be your spouse, it could be your child or your parents, someone who would need to contact you no matter what. In such a case, it doesn't make sense to have your phone on mute and telling them, no, my phone was mute. No, that's not acceptable. So so in that case, you can do that. You can say, you can star those contacts, and you can allow like this option here, from starred contacts only. It gives you an option to all these options, but I have set it to starred contacts only. So these options would mean that your phone would behave sensibly.
My phone works in a different way. I'm not seeing the same things that you are.
Yeah, some of the things that I showed you actually depend on your Android version. My Android version is the new one, M Marshmallow. So
yes. I have Marshmallow too, but I'm not. Well, I'll.
Probably
the menu items are quite different.
Yeah, probably slightly different, but general principle would be very similar, and you should be able to mute your phone automatically. And the Roland, before we started, Roland was saying he would mute his phone himself, turn the volume down. That has one major drawback, as in, okay, once the meeting is over, then what happens?
You forget to turn it back on.
Yeah, then somebody tries to reach you. And,
that's happened to me many times.
Oh, but that never happens to me. Actually, once in a while, but for the most part, I don't have that problem. But it sounds like it's a good feature if you have a regular calendar, a regular set of systems down that conduct your schedule. It sounds like a pretty good feature.
So, yeah, I have covered what I wanted to cover, and I was actually expecting Alana to. I've sent her an invite, but
I believe that based on yesterday, she was having some trouble with her computer.
Okay.
Well, I learned 3 new things that I didn't know before. Thank you so much.
Glad to be of help. So yeah, this is we have covered the U part of the WHY. I've covered Y, WY, and then I've covered how, and U part. So if you have any concluding remarks about Google Calendar and so on, go ahead. We are going to.
Well, for me, one of the features of Google Calendar that I really depend on is the color coding.
Mhm.
So within my primary, I have color-coded categories of activities. So I can tell at a glance if this is a personal, if it's a personal engagement, then it's one color. If it's a work engagement, it's another. If it's a volunteer, it's another. And if it's a webinar, it's another.
Mm.
So I find that just invaluable. And of course, those colors come over onto your phone as well.
Yeah. And one aspect I was going to cover was for a drive, you need gas. And I have been developing this application which uses Google Apps Script. Google Apps Script, when you take the first words of them and it becomes gas. Actually, Google Apps Script developers themselves don't really like that, but in some places it has stuck. Some people would say, because it rhymes with drive, Google Drive.
Yes.
And yeah, there was one new person who signed up to watch this event. I wonder whether that person is watching or would be watching or not. He or she didn't give, or even they didn't give me a name. I can only imagine who that can be, but it says apprentice life. One of the former stars of Apprentice here in the UK, Richard Woods. I have been on his Facebook group. I have been interacting with him and so on. It may be him, I don't know. But the form was filled on the website, have been given an email address and so on, and yeah, so the tool that I'm developing is already in use.
Aha. So I'm looking in my calendar right now, Vivek, and now I'm seeing 2 of this meeting. Whereas before we started, there was only 1 there. I wonder why there's 2.
Yeah, the tool that I am developing is still under development, so it is at the moment it is doing a few things that it probably shouldn't be doing in the final version, but okay, Roland, concluding remarks?
Yeah, I have not been a user of the Google Calendar, but I do use a calendar, and I pretty much live by that and my my Google Hangouts app. Between the two things, I communicate with everybody and I keep my schedule straight. And so I see the value of doing this, but I think one of the reasons that people don't use it or don't use it effectively, and it could be either or both, is that it's very ominous. They don't explain these things very well. And even though I watched you go through it, there's still some questions that I have. And so it's a very convoluted concept. But if you get used to using it, it can be very effective. And that's the important thing. we don't know everything that the Google Calendar does. So to have an advanced education would be very handy. And then it might be worth the education, but it's definitely not a real easy user-friendly thing. So I think when people get
It's
used to knowing what it can do and how to do it, there would be more effective use of the calendar.
yeah, it is true of quite a lot of tools that are available for free. In the sense, if you look at the GNU tools, the free software foundation tools and so on, such as Linux, Ubuntu, or any of those different versions of Linux. If you use those tools, you'll find that they have so many switches and things that you can do, that they are really powerful, but it takes a lot of effort to understand them. It takes a lot of effort to get to know them. But once you start using them, it makes it so much easy.
I think that's why they have user interface designers.
Yeah. User interface designers would actually hide quite a lot of stuff from you and make certain assumptions about the options that you might use. That's where it gets subjective and all the rest of it. The options that I select are good for me, but they may not be good for you. But if I make those assumptions and write a software and make it available to everyone, may not be that useful for everyone. So that
Well,
is the
well,
trade-off
let us say
always.
there are good user interface designers and bad ones. There are also good product developers and bad ones. So, I mean, the best match is for people to you have a good product in the first place, and then a user interface designer that knows the use of the tool for certain purposes. And that designer would not be designing for the general public for the tool's purposes, but for a specific field or a specific niche, and then that would be applicable to make it practical and simplified, because as you say, simplified and integrated, but it's a vast world of knowledge to do these things. So one of the things that you're developing is an easier way to use the tools that be. And I like that. That's good stuff.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is too, I mean, the more options that a tool has, the more complicated it seems.
Yeah.
But when you run into that, the best way to approach it is one small step at a time. And once you integrate that into your understanding, then you discover one more thing, and you go, oh, I didn't know it would do that. Oh, that's just great. So that just goes on and on. I've been using Google Calendar for years, and here we are in this tutorial, and there are 3 things that I had no idea you could do. Maybe I might have discovered it if I had specifically needed it, but I hadn't thought of it. But I heard about 3 things that I think would be really, really useful. So it's very useful. I mean, if you just build your knowledge a few steps at a time.
Yeah.
Makes it much more interesting.
One additional thing that I had never heard that I think you mentioned earlier, Vivek, was there is a setting to allow an embedded calendar to allow people to use on the audience or the visitor side to actually book events in your calendar.
Yes.
Now, that's something that a lot of people might use if they knew about it, but
Mm.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah, it is available. Mhm.
So
Well,
the question,
there are some schedulers that some people have created variations on that, but I was aware of those, but I wasn't aware that Google Calendar had that feature. So that's
Many
very
of these,
useful.
many of these actually the tools that some companies provide you, many of them actually depend on some Google Calendar in some shape somewhere, and that problem with that approach is unless you let the actual user know that is what they are doing, the companies are getting into kind of it's not good to hide what you are actually using, and anyway, that's a rant for another day.
Yes. We three seem to enjoy rants. We should call ourselves the Rant Punch,
the rant pack.
the Rant Pack. Oh. Yeah, we've had some good fun.
Okay, I'm going to say, yeah, thank you for watching today's event. We have hit 5 o'clock mark now here in the UK. Thank you for watching today's event. You can certainly reach me through my Google Plus profile, my website, my LinkedIn profile, Facebook, or even Twitter. So hope it has been useful for all the viewers today. I'm going to conclude by saying, reminding you of my tagline: integrate, simplify, life. Thank you.